Hi, I'm Billy, one of the Fuji guys. I'm here to show you a hands-on preview of the newly developed Fujifilm X-S1. This is one of the newest X series in the lineup. We had both the X100 and the X10. The X-S1 shares some of the similar concepts and in terms of sensor technology as the X10 that was recently announced. So let's take a quick look at the X-S1 here. It obviously incorporates a 2/3 inch CMOS sensor. One noticeable difference, of course, is that it is an X series camera, so the build quality is of course, as you pick this camera up, incredible. It is made in Japan, like all the X series cameras. Looking at the lens itself, as you can see, it's a metal lens cap there. As well, it's also a metal lens barrel. So that means that the zoom, just like the X10, is super smooth, as you can see. The zoom goes from 24 mil, and at the full maximum zoom, it's 624 millimeters. That's equivalent to 35, of course. And the lens that it uses is an f2 2.8 to 5.6 lens. It has a 62 millimeter thread, so you can attach filters with it as well. It also includes a metal lens hood with the camera. If you're obviously looking at this camera for the very first time, it does feel and looks very much like a high quality camera. This is absolutely no denying that this belongs in the X series of lineup. If we look at the HS20 and HS10s of the past of Fuji cam, this is sort of where this camera sort of comes from. But if we look at the actual build quality in this camera, it's absolutely amazing. It looks and feels like a digital SLR, but it's not an SLR. The lens is fixed on the camera. There is a manual focusing on the camera itself, and I'll show you that as a demo. It is ultra smooth, very, very smooth, and it allows for very fast focusing, just like an SLR, so I can jump between focuses if I wanted to as well. And of course, it does have a pop-up flash here, as you can see. It does pop slightly forward as that, and that's kind of cool to see. You have a hot shoe as well. You can use both the Fuji EF42 flash or the EF20 flash with the camera. It does have that tilting screen that's nice to see. Let's just turn the camera on. Of course, this is obviously what you wanted to see. You might be asked, some of the setup questions like the language settings, which I'm going to set. This looks like the display here. It displays the camera's function setting that you have it on. Because it's on EXR mode, its face detection is on as well. There's also the autofocus, continuous autofocus is on. It's on the EXR auto mode. As I change the display, I can go through the standard or even completely turn off the information if I wanted to. So I'm just going to put back the information on as that. Just going to flip out the screen so that you can see it easier. Zooming, again, is ultra smooth. It's really, really nice to see. Even the focusing is very fast on this camera as well. As you can see, it does have face detection, and it does quickly focus on the subject, which is great. Because it's EXR mode, it's automatically deciding also the type of pixel configuration that it needs to use. And this is obviously in low light, so it's switching to so that you can get higher ISO shooting at less noise. You have the different shooting modes on top here. You got PS, A, and M. You got 3 custom modes. You got a scene position mode that contains a bunch of scene modes. Of course, you got an advanced mode that allows you to shoot things like the 360 panoramic, as well as the Pro Focus and Pro Low Light mode. Okay, you have basically the automatic mode and the EXR mode, which we were in earlier. I'm going to show you the full manual control, because this is basically what this camera is all about. The ability to adjust both the shutter speeds and aperture. In order to adjust the aperture on the camera, you use the command down on the top, and I just rotate that, and it, of course, as I have it wide open, it goes from an f2.8 and all the way up to, looks like an f11. It's a 9-blade aperture, very similar to that of the X100, so you can get some very nice bokeh effect, with that nice glowy, soft, out-of-focus look to it. And that's just by adjusting that. To adjust the shutter speed on the camera, because there's no rotating dial like the X10, you basically push the exposure compensation button. So as I push that, it toggles between now the shutter speeds, as I can rotate, and push that back again to adjust the aperture on the camera. Of course, there's a little meter on the left here that tells me if things are underexposed or overexposed. as I adjust the manual controls on the camera. So what I want to show you now, of course, is I'm just going to put it to the program auto. I want to show you the manual focus on the camera. There is a focus selector in the front. You got the single focus, the continuous autofocus, and the manual focus. And this is something that I definitely love to look at. It is a really good feature. I'm going to try to show you, see if you can see it a lot clearer by showing that for you. So basically, the focusing, as I zoom in, I'm going to show you how this works here. As I rotate the dial, as you can see, it's very fast focus. I can get it all the way to the opposite end and rotate it back in again to focus. I can also use my AF button to do a quick focus as well, and I can manually adjust that. There is two function buttons, a function 2 and a function 1 button. These can be set to do anything you want. I can hold the buttons down, and I can change the function 2 button to be have it on default as focus check, but you can do other options as well. So I'm just going to set it to the focus check. And as I push the focus check button, it actually enlarges the center there. And as I rotate the focus, I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to focus back the other way. And there we go. It's in focus right there. And I can go the opposite direction. If I zoom out, again, I can adjust the focus like that. And of course, magnifying the square helps me to do that focus better. So there you go. So if I'm out of focus, rotating it to in focus, and then putting it out of focus again to the foreground. So foreground, in focus, background. And again, this can be done through the video mode. So let's say I'm recording a video now with the camera. So in the video mode, let's take a look at that. We can go into the menu of the camera. Whoops. Go into the menu of the camera. I'm going to go into the video mode option, which is right here. It's obviously 1080p Full HD video. There's an option for still shooting in the video, so I can actually push the OK button to record my picture. And there's two options, movie priority and still image priority. And by selecting movie priority, it's going to give me a very small JPEG image, which I think is either 2 or 3 megapixels, which is not bad. And it's not going to interrupt my movie at all. I'm not going to even notice anything. If I select still image priority, it's going to give me an 8 megapixel image, but you might see a slight pause as you continue to record the video when you want to take a photo in between that. So I'm just going to leave it at movie priority for now. But what I do like to change, of course, is the focus option on the camera. You do, if you set it to the front of the camera to be just the AFS, you can change to have face detection on during video. You can also change the AF mode and AF areas on. Well, actually, that's for the photo shooting. So it's just face detection. And for the movie mode focusing part of it, it's done basically through the front, so the autofocus and whatnot. So I'm just going to leave it the manual focus just to show you how good that manual focus is. I'm going to see if I can actually zoom in for you on the subject here. And of course, it's out of focus. I'm going to start my recording by pushing the instant record button there. And I can actually adjust my focus. So that's background, correct focus, and then foreground as well. Again, the focus option is actually very, very smooth and adjusts very well. So I'm just going to stop that video, of course. And that's just obviously a nice feature to have with this camera. And also for video recording, I've noticed there's also now a stereo mic input. It's just a standard 3.5 plug there, so you can stick in the conventional microphones, whether it's a boom mic that you want to attach to the camera, or even some wireless lapel mics to avoid any zoom noise. But I've noticed as well with the manual focusing on this camera, because it's so smooth and so easy to do, it's very hard to notice actually the focusing, even during video. So if you plan to record at a concert or something like that, you can stick that full zoom and you can get a very nice video now, and it stays in focus. You don't have to deal with the camera jumping in and out of focus. So I love that feature. I talked about the function 1 button, and there's 2 function buttons that's fully customizable on this camera. You have the ISO button as well, and that gives you quick access to the ISO control, so I love to have that. That's just, again, a quick preview of the camera in terms of the mode, the looks of the style of the camera itself. It's an amazing camera to feel. Once you pick it up, you know it is part of the X series lineup. You know, you have all the controls just like, you know, the X series cameras in terms of the ability to change a lot of the color sharpness settings on the camera. So the camera also, of course, as you notice, does not have a cable release on it. But what you do have the option, of course, is to use the Fujifilm R80 shutter release. It's basically a USB connected cable release. It's not that long, but of course you can also buy a USB extension, which is not that expensive at all. So you just plug that via the USB port on the camera itself. And now let me just set the camera to the auto. I'm just going to flip the screen up so you can see that. And as you can see here, as I push the button halfway down, it does focus, and it takes the picture for me. Of course, let me move my focus points. There's 49 different focus points. I'm just going to move it on the Fuji Guys head right there. Push halfway down, pre-focuses. Push all the way down, it takes the picture again. It's a great little feature to have. Definitely an item to pick up on the camera. There's also even a hold button. So if I set the camera to the manual mode and I adjust the shutter speed on the camera to, I'm just going to put it to the bulb mode, I guess. So as I put it to the bulb mode, I can hold the camera down and, of course, hold the shutter button down. As I let go, it then releases. So that's a 5-second exposure, which is obviously going to be completely washed out, as you can see. Again, in the bulb mode, what I can also do is push it down and slide it up, and now it's locked in place. I can do a longer exposure, of course, in the bulb mode as I want to. And, you know, if I'm happy with that, I can let go, and there we go. This is going to obviously be completely washed out again because it's obviously way, way overexposed. But that's a nice, cool feature to look at on the camera itself. Again, it's the RR80 shutter release. And that's the same one that actually was used on some previous Fuji cameras. Another look of the camera, of course, is the external flash. It does have a built-in flash, as I showed you earlier. But it's always nice to have one of these flashes so I can actually bounce it off the ceiling. So like any of the cameras, the X series camera, it does accept these cameras. It's full TTL support. So I'm just going to turn the flash on, and the symbol automatically comes up telling me the flash is attached, and it's just charging. It's ready to go now. And as I zoom, as you can notice as well with the TTL flash, of course, it does adjust the focus for me. And that's what TTL is all about, right? It knows my exposure and can correctly adjust it. So I'm just going to set it to the aperture mode on the camera, and you know, set up the aperture to, I don't know, f7.1, I guess. I can rotate and force the flash so it's direct on, and the flash goes off, and it automatically adjusts. It knows my ISO. If I flip it upwards so it's a bounce flash instead, the flash will be a little stronger. It automatically knows that, and it will give me a better, obviously, less intensity on the flash. So that was a strong burst, as you can see, because I was bouncing it. And if it's more direct on, the flash might be a little softer. Try that again. Yep, as you can see, the flash was toned down. And taking a look at the image itself, as you can see, you know, very nice in terms of exposure-wise with this flash. So that's just a quick look at the external flash on the camera as well. It's another accessory that's offered by Fujifilm. It also has a little diffuser built into the camera, into the flash unit itself. And again, that's just a quick run-through and brief demonstration of the newly X series family of cameras, the X-S1.